Use your mind to lead the Qi. From the Qi, then trigger the actions.
You will love this episode of the Seena Podcast if you are interested in traditional Chinese medicine, Chinese martial arts, the Tao, the Jing, or philosophy in general. I'm speaking with a renowned Chinese martial arts master and author of one of my favorite books. His name is Dr. Yang Jwing-Ming, and he is the author of The Tao, the Jing, a Qigong interpretation. This book features a fascinating approach applying the philosophy of the Tao Te Ching onto the body. I wanted to quickly jump on here first to say that in our conversation, we also talk about certain martial arts styles from both the north and the south of China with names like White Crane, Long Fist, and so on. If you're not familiar, all you need to know is that all these styles originated from an internal knowledge of how to cultivate and balance your energy internally before using that skill to exert force externally. Said another way, all martial arts is actually based on Qigong principles. Dr. Yang has spent his entire life cultivating and refining his knowledge of Qigong. Later this year, he'll turn 80 years old. He's originally from Taiwan, and this is our conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Seena Podcast. Today, it is an honor for me to be speaking with Dr. Yang Jwing-Ming. He is the author of one of my favorite books, The Tao Te Ching, a Qigong interpretation. But that book is just one book in a long library of releases from him. He has published many books on Qigong and also on martial arts. I should also mention that he is the founder of the Young Martial Arts Association, which he founded in Boston in 1982. And since then, it has spread to over 30 schools in 15 different countries. And today, Dr. Yang is living in California, where you can actually sign up to go and learn from him if you want to. It's definitely on my bucket list. And he is continuing to give seminars and lectures all over the world. So with that being said, welcome, Dr. Yang.
Hello, everyone.
I think we can just dive right in. So maybe you could give an introduction to your early life history and how it started your journey towards White Crane, Tai Chi, and everything.
Yeah, remember, I was born in 1946. There's a 1 year after the Second World War, and the Japanese has surrendered, and Taiwan was controlled by Japanese for 50 years. So finally, Taiwan became free. And the question is now, because there's no government at that period of time, so it's chaotic. So the crime rate is high, and everybody's struggling to survive. And that's a situation. Everything is chaotic, disorder. Okay, and this situation, that's I was born. So that time, in my generation, almost everyone have a health problem. Because when the mother carry us at that time during the wartime, there's no plenty of food. So that means the baby was born is somewhat infected. So because reason the health-wise for my generation is not that good. And this situation, it didn't last until 1960s. In 1950s, and the Korean War is over, but at the same time, Chinese communists continue to prepare attack Taiwan. So Taiwan is 24 hours alert for defense. And this situation lasts until 1960s, and I was in the high school. Okay, by that time, all my generation, they realized one thing. It doesn't matter man or woman. If there's war started, when you're 16 years old, you can be drafted to the war. But against China, it's so big. And then we know if you go to the war, then that means 90% you'll be killed. So that's a situation in my generation. Psychologically, we are not balanced. So because one way you want to survive, the other way you are so fear. We actually grew up in the fear to be drafted to the war. So in this case, why you want to study? Why you want to go to school? You're going to die anyway. Why you have to try so hard about your life? See, that's the mentality at that time for a lot of young kids. So that's why become the gangster, become the bad kids, whatever. They try to show how much guts they have. Okay. And then to me, when I was 15 years old, I started thinking, yeah, what can I do? Because I'm going to be 16. If there's a war, I can be drafted. If there's no war, then when you are 18, you'll be drafted to the army. But if there's a war, then it's a different story. So because reason, that's why I say psychologically, all my generation try to prepare. Yeah, when the situation comes, will you be able to face it? Can you face the death? Will you be afraid? Can you kill people without even knowing them? And they'll kill you too. So those kind of situation mentality grew up at that time. Okay. So for me, a lot of my friends then become the bad guys, they're bullying people, and then they try to show how much they have guts, how much they are so brave. But to me, I believe the way to build my confidence is to really learn some martial arts. Yeah, so when I start martial arts, then a lot of people say you learn martial art, then you become a bad guy because you learn the skill, you learn how to fight better, you become a bad guy. But so amazing part when I tell my parents, my grandmom, say I want to learn martial art, they say, oh, okay, no problem. And then I asked my grandmom, they said, why? Because all the family were against the kids learning martial art because they become the bad kids. And how come my family? They say, my grandmom said, no. Before in the Yang's family, we have about 800 people, all last names Yang. In Yang's village, there are about 800 people. Inside, about 600 learn martial arts. Because then this one to American probably don't know too much. Because in China, there are many style, family style, Yang style, Chen style, Wu style, Sun style, you name it. There are so many different family style. Why? That's because in the ancient time, the government didn't have that kind of power to protect everyone. So all the village, they have to know how to protect themselves. If a village, they train martial arts, then the bandit, they try to attack, they have to think if they're going to sacrifice more people or not. So in this case, they try to avoid. So because reason, almost all the village train martial arts. That's why becomes so many family styles existing today. So that's how I started. Okay, that's two of the reasons. One is family, and the other one is because the situation at that time, the wartime. So especially when I was 9 years old, at that time, the situation is so bad, and I generally ulcer. So this ulcer stay there, never go away, because at that time we didn't have money. My family have 9 kids, and there's not too much income. So the ulcer, you have it, then that's it. Then you don't see the doctors. Yeah. So that's the situation. So one day, when I learned White Coin, the first master is my White Coin master. Yeah, when I was 15 years old. See, when I got there, one day I was training, and I feel stomach pain because of ulcer. And then I would cold sweat. I sit in the corner and cold sweat. And my master comes to take a look. He say, well, he feel my pulse. And he say, oh, you feel like you have an internal organ problem. I say, yes, I had that since I was 9 years old. Have you ever thought about when you are 9 years old, you are still a kid? All the time you have an ulcer. You eat, you have pain. You don't eat, you're hungry, you are in pain. So those conversations last all about 6 years. And I asked my master, said, what can I do? My white gray master said, I heard practice Tai Chi Chuan will help you relax your organ and to help you heal. See, you know what that means? Because in 1960s, you learn from one master, you cannot learn from the other master. It's considered betray. Because all the martial art have a secret. Every style is secret. So at that time, it's so strict. But when my master said that, that means he encouraged me to find Tai Chi master for my ulcer problem. That's why I went to do Tai Chi Chuan and learn from Master Gao. Actually, he's a high school teacher. He's an English teacher. The same time he teaches soccer. Okay. He's only 29 years old, very, very strict. Okay, then that's how I learned it. Amazing part. The first thing I learned is how do I use abdominal breathing and move my lower back gently forward and backwards. Slowly, amazingly, 6 months later, my episode of ulcers, it start get every other day and not often. And I was amazed. That's why it kept me encouraged to say, okay, this is very good. Because I didn't know at that time, because also the front side of your stomach really tense because of pain. So energy trapped there make it cause more problem. Now, he always teach me is how to move the lower back, because that's a Tai Chi Chuan is most important key to loose up the dantian, lower dantian. That's me, the waist area. Waist area had to be loose, had to be relaxed. That's a crucial key. Once you relax that area, actually your internal organs start relax. See, that's become very important key point for my life. See, once I do that and keep practicing, well, ulcers eventually 2 years later completely gone. The episode never kicked back again. That's why I start practicing Tai Chi Chuan. Yeah, people always ask me one question. They say, "Hey, Dr. Yang, when you are 15 years old, you are so young." And young people, they don't like Tai Chi. That's because too slow. And why you want Tai Chi? Because I like Tai Chi. It's not because I like it. I don't like it, but I have to do it. Yeah, I didn't like Tai Chi Chuan until I came to the United States. When I really grew up. Okay, so when I was 16 years old, I started learning Tai Chi Chuan with Master Gao. Okay, and the Tai Chi Chuan, the internal style, because they come from internal. You learn how to relax internal organ, how to use your mind to feel the internal organ. From there, your mind relax and point to the organ, you can relax it. For example, breathing. You can feel your lung. You can easily feel your lung. But you put your mind there, then relax your lung, deep breathing, you can find you can relax very quickly. That's the same thing for entire body, because mind and body communicate. Okay, so that's the keys of the Tai Chi is the internal. So in this case, when I come to the United States, people always ask me, say, "Hey, Dr. Yang, what's the difference of internal, external?" Yeah, because the internal style, you look at Chinese history, because I research when I write books, and I research and try to trace back in the 5th century, about 520 AD at that time. Before that time, there's no record at all what's the internal style, what's the external style. The question is, after 550 AD, the 580 at that time start having 2 styles. They call internal style. What is that period? That period is so crucial. Why? That's why research you realize, because of Shaolin Temple. Shaolin Temple, before is always external style, always physical. Until this monk, Indian monk, called Bodhidharma, he went there. When there, he teach the Shaolin monk how to strengthen the qi circulation, and from the qi circulation, and make the body stronger, endurable. Okay, that's how it started, right? So all his concept is you use your mind to lead the qi. From the qi, then trigger the actions. Mind lead the qi, the action. See, the mind is internal, action is external. So, because the reason that's why some people say, well, if the action, how much power you have, it originate from the mind, then the mind should focus. So, because reason that's why people say, oh, okay, we should start from the mind. That's become internal style. Mind the qi is the internal style. The qi go to action. That's the external. So, because the reason that's why suddenly Chinese have a northern style, southern style. That's why Tai Chi Chuan has to be relaxed. Tai Chi Chuan, when you relax, then qi can circulate, because the resistance of qi circulation become lower. Then you can use your mind to lead the qi more efficiently. That's the trigger why Tai Chi Chuan is so healthy, so beneficial for the health, because you use your mind to lead the qi and make your body relax. Unfortunately, you can see most of people today, they have a habit, always tense. When they are tense, the energy continue to consume, but sometimes stagnant. But the Tai Chi Chuan or some soft style Qigong, then your mind make body relax and use the mind to lead the Qi. Yeah. And people say, hey, how do you use the mind to lead the Qi? I say, well, that's called imagination.
Yeah. Exactly. It's very powerful.
Yeah. For example, I move this mark, this pens. I move it. How did I move it? The mind lead the Qi. The Qi, because today you understand, the scientists already confirmed we have a second brain. And second brain, actually, Chinese called real dantian. Yeah, dantian, that's mean where the energy can be stored, can be produced. It's actually your guts. So from the guts, you can see that's what places there's a battery, bio battery of your body. So use your mind to lead the Qi. That's mean your mind think, then Qi from there goes through the channel, then activate the nerves and muscle are moving. See, that's very important, simple. That's an internal style. So mind lead Qi is internal, and Qi you manifest it. That's external. Okay, then people that get confused again. You say, okay, what's the northern style, southern style? See, that's a reason people they don't have that kind of historical background. They don't understand. Okay, because you look at China. China divided north and south by Yellow River. Yellow River is a bit in the middle. Yellow River on the west side, if I draw here, then you can see. Because this is China. This is a Yellow River. Okay. And this is Himalaya. There's a Mongolia. And there's a two biggest river from Himalaya going down to the east. Because Himalaya is very high and the snow. Because the reason when the snow melted, all these rivers is flooded. But this river, that's why a lot of small rivers and a lot of lake. But this side dry, this side wet. So that's why this area grow rice, because rice grow in the water. And this side grow wheat. Wheat grow in the dry land. So that's why from here, this is a Yellow River, this is Beijing. So from here you can see this Great Wall. Great Wall is what? To build for defense. Because the Mongolia, Manchuria, Persians, all this continue attack invaded China. So you build a Great Wall for defense. Okay, now people, they grow up here. The martial art, you have to be clear, the martial art will be able to fight on the boat because a lot of water. So a lot of time you fight on the boat. But boat in ancient time built by wood. But wood become wet, it's slippery. So that's why the southern style become very good for the hands, but they cannot kick high. But the northern style on the Mongolia area is dry land, but the legs longer, so they emphasize kicking. So that's become northern style, southern style. Okay, Tai Chi Chuan, where Tai Chi Chuan started. Yeah. So Tai Chi started from there. Then what? Then that's between north and south. So that means martial artists have to know how to learn southern style, have to learn northern style. Okay, the style I learned White Crane is a southern style. It's southern White Crane. So because reason the hands, short range fighting important because on the boat you don't have a big space. So everything you tangle with each other. So that's the Qin Na and the restaurant Shuaijiao is become popular, become expertise for that. But the northern style, they like to kick. They like the long range fighting. They keep you long distance. Okay, but the Tai Chi Chuan in between. So Tai Chi will be able to fight on the north, to fight on the south. And Tai Chi is so soft. It's soft, it stick with you. Like the paper stick with you. Okay, now from here you can understand now. From all this, you understand Chinese martial arts, it doesn't matter which style. Every style that can be existing today. Every style have a Qigong. That's what the people don't understand. In Chinese Qigong society, you research back, you can find the oldest Qigong society is actually acupuncture. Acupuncture, you can go back to 4,000 years ago in Chinese Song Dynasty. At that time, already talk about Qi. Yeah, so talk about Qi, then what is a Qi? So that's why you have to understand at that time, and Chinese culture has been heavily influenced by a book called Book of Change, I Jing. Okay, in the Book of Change, what they say, amazing is this book, where it come from, so far lost. We didn't know where it come from. We just interpreted by King Wen, but where they come from, nobody actually know. There's a lost history. But question is, in the Book of Change, they talk about in this universe, there's a two world coexisting, yin world and yang world. Chinese called yin jian, yang jian. Again, to the Western world, so what you see, that's a yang jian, but what you feel, there's another side you don't see. But in the West, you call spirit, spiritual world. So eventually, I don't care the Chinese culture, Indian culture, Egyptian culture, or even European culture, all recognize human have two body in the body. Physical body, spiritual body. See, but that one already recorded in Chinese Book of Change long time ago. And they already talk about Qi. Qi is the one make this happen. Qi, then people say, what is Qi? The Western world, they get confused. But eventually, it's very simple thing. It's only energy. Qi is an energy. For example, Chinese call Tian Qi. Tian Qi, that means Tian sky, sky energy. Tian Qi, the sky energy. Di Qi, ground energy. Ren Qi, human energy. 热气 is a heat energy. 冷气 is a air conditioning. It's called cold energy. So from here, what's the qi? Actually, energy. Any type of energy is called qi. Then people say, okay, what's a qigong? Again, people get confused. Qigong is not a mystery. It's not it's a science. Gong is mean gong fu. Gong fu, to Chinese understanding, Chinese definition, Kung Fu, that means take a lot of time and take a lot of energy to accomplish anything we call Kung Fu. For example, you can learn play piano, you can learn painting, you can learn dancing, you can learn anything. As long as you take a lot of energy and the time to accomplish, it's called Kung Fu. So martial art is Kung Fu. Kung Fu is not martial arts. Yeah, because you want to reach high level of achieve high level of Kung Fu, you need to spend a lot of time and energy to make it happen. See, Qigong actually is study or the practice of the Qi. Very simple. So Chinese Qigong Society, first one is a medical Qigong. At that time, they already defined what is the Qi. The second, they come to scholar Qigong. They come from Confucius, come from Taoist. Because at that time, they already talk about Qi, talk about Dao De Jing, and Confucius talk about Qi, how to harmonize your Qi from your mind. Then the third one, the second scholar, and the third one is religious. The religious Qigong originally started from Dao De Jing, but when the Jesus Christ was born at that time, around 0 AD, around that time, Chinese Han Dynasty. Then Indian Buddhism entered China. You understand one thing? India have a 7,000 years of history. Chinese has 7,000 years history. But these two countries never communicated for a long period of time, for 2,000 years. No, 5,000 years until Chinese Han Dynasty. Han Dynasty is 2,000 years ago. Okay, what happened? Himalaya. Himalaya is such a high mountains. So this culture, India here and Chinese here, they don't communicate. It was not until Han Dynasty through the Silk Road because of Persian. And Persian, they come China, they get the silk and go to Europe, go to Rome, go to whatever. From Silk Road, then Indian Buddhism enter China. That's where the religion started. Originally, Taoism is called scholar Taoism. It doesn't call religion. Yeah, there's no Buddhism. Yeah, until Buddhism from India come to China, then this guy called Zhang Daoling, he started mix with the Buddhism and the Taoist philosophy, then become Daojiao, become Tao religion. That's how religion starts. So, but they also train Qigong. But what they're training for spiritual side. They focus on spiritual enlightenment. They want to feel the other dimension. And then martial arts, about 5th AD, that means about 520, around that time. Martial arts start training Qigong. So there are 4 major schools of Chinese Qigong. See? So when I learn White Crane, we train some Qigong. When I learn Tai Chi, I train some Qigong. When I learned long fist, I didn't train any Qigong because the long fist is more physical. Okay, so because of the reason that's how I started, and then come to today's. And when I come to United States, because I came to United States when I was 27 years old, I was still young, so I couldn't find a teacher. So what the best way to learn? Because some of the documents are already available. So I start collecting documents, and from the document try to understand, study, and start teaching. And from the teaching, from writing, I learned to compile all the ancient information. And through my teaching, I get experience. From there, I understand. When I understand, I share with the people. That's become me.
That's wonderful. So I feel like you already answered some of my upcoming questions, but so basically my second question was how you transferred from Tai Chi to Qigong, but Qigong was already there, is what you're saying, because it's the foundation of all the other things. And you also spoke a little bit about how it's so important for us to realize that the mind leads the Qi. Anything else you want to add to that? Or if not, my next question was, can you explain how feelings are the language of the body, and how we have 2 brains connected by the spinal cord?
Okay, let me get to the first. Okay. Originally, the Qigong I have only Tai Chi Chuan and the White Crane. That's all I have. So actually, it's very shallow compared with the depth of the Qigong. Qigong is very deep. So when I came to the United States, I started getting interested because now, 27 years old, my mind become more mature, not the young kids anymore, and start thinking more than acting. So when you think, you start realize what's the life. Then you start trying to understand what the spiritual side of life. But in the 4 school of Qigong, which school is the deepest? Can you imagine? It's not medical Qigong. It's not martial Qigong. It's not scholar Qigong. It's actually religious Qigong. They're talking about spirit. But again, what is spirit? Can today's science explain what's the spirit? No. Do we know what's the spirit since ancient time? No. It's still mystery. That's why but we know it's there. We all feel it. But question, we don't know what is that. See, that's become the mystery. So that's the reason all the religion in the whole world they created. They try to interpret spirit. At the same time, use that become a weapon to control people. That's why I'm against that. So how many wars in Chinese in the human history because of religion? Religion is supposed to be peace, harmony, love, compassion. How come become killing? See, they said that's the questions. But the question, that's because we don't understand. But so far, that's why I'm very interested to understand. I want to understand what is the spirit of the life. Because in my life, when I was about, I would say 17 years old, I got food poison. I got poisoned, and then at the same time, the diarrhea, I have a fever. And the nighttime, my fever is very high, but I have to go to pee. By that time, there's no toilet. All you do is a bucket next to your bed and just pee on the bucket. So I went there, I went to pee, but I was dizzy. I was almost to pass out. But after I finish it, then I turn back. I say, what happened? The feel of pain is gone. And no fever, nothing. I say, it's impossible. So I feel the body is comfortable. When I look back, I find my body next to the bucket. You know what in my mind at that time? I was dead. Because I see myself. So this make me scared. When that thought kicked in, I woke up to the bucket. One of men in the urine bucket. I woke up. You know what that means? Once you have this experience, you question it. Your spiritual body, physical body can be separated. When your physical body is so weak, your spiritual body can be separated. That's why I say, I want to know what is that. Okay, slowly, amazing part to me in this century. This century is a spiritual century. Because in 1950s, 1960s, the scientists discovered called the dark matter. Dark matter. What's the dark matter? See, the question, this is the whole universe. If this universe is by materials, material according to Newton's gravitational law, it should be shrinking. But on the contrary, the universe is expanding with the speed of light. To scientists, that's impossible. It cannot be calculated. What is pulling the universe apart with speed of light? Supposed to be shrinking. That's why finally scientists have to assume there is a called dark matter or dark energy. People can find it in the internet because this is very common knowledge now. So the whole this universe, more than 70% of things we cannot see, they call dark matter of the universe. That one is anti-gravitational. If we talk about anti-gravitational. We grow up in these two worlds, material world, spiritual world. Which one is anti-gravitation? In that dark matter, in that dimension, time doesn't have no meaning. From one end of the universe to the other end, it can go like that. What is that? The body will grow into these two dimensions. So in my body, I have these two capabilities. Which one I can go to one end of the universe to the other end, just like that. The time doesn't have meaning. It's anti-gravitational. Your spirit, your mind. See? That's why we have two bodies. But these things amazing today until the beginning of this century. Now today is 2026 now. It's only lasted 20, 30 years. Then scientists discover the spiritual side actually is come from subconscious mind. It triggers a quantum entanglement in the universe. So that means your mind, this from quantum energy level, can synchronize many, many things. See, that's why the quantum computer is coming soon. I don't know if you heard of quantum computer. Because today's computer, you calculate yes and no, yes and no, yes and no. It's a binary. Quantum computer, no, you calculate 1,000, 5,000 at the same time. So today's computer, It can calculate. It takes about 5 years to calculate. In quantum computer, 5 seconds, done. That's how powerful. This is coming soon in this century, in the next 20 years. Yeah, because China, America, Russia, Taiwan, even Taiwan have a small quantum computer already. But questions, this technology is going to turn the world upside down. Because this is a quantum entanglement. Once we know that, before we didn't know what's a quantum entanglement. But now scientists start understand what's a quantum entanglement. Yeah, but I don't know, if people want to understand, you have to understand quantum mechanics. If you don't understand quantum mechanics, it will be hard to accept this idea. But eventually, it's true. Your subconscious mind is a related quantum entanglement. Your mind is not. So because reason they say, what is mind and what is spirit? Spirit is not mind. Mind is not spirit. So that's me. From the mind, you divide it into two. Conscious mind, subconscious mind. What's a conscious mind? I think. When I think, I recognize that's called manipulating. See, now I talk, I try to manipulate your thinking. That's why I talk. It's lying. So that's why a lot of these, can you be truthful or are you lying? So that's why I keep telling people, say what I said is my personal understanding. Every listener, every people watch, put a big question mark. Everything you read, you hear, everything. A lot of them is manipulated. Commercial on TV, manipulation. Politician, what they talk about, manipulation. Even people try to persuade you in manipulation. This whole world is manipulating. That is conscious mind. What's the subconscious mind? You feel. When someone tells you something, he tries to manipulate it. Can you feel he's lying or not lying? You have that feeling. See, that's why you have to understand what is a feeling. This nature is so amazing. People always ask me why we came here. I ask them back, I say, why you have 5 sensing organs? You have eyes, your nose, you have a tongue, your hearing, your skin touch, you have what's that? It's for you to collect information. The eyes, you look, you see, you recognize, you smell, the tongue, taste, hearing, skin touch. This for you to collect information. But this feeling is so profound because this feeling can go to the nature. Too hot, I feel hot. Too cold, I feel cold. Windy, I feel windy. It's not like by looking. So this feeling is communication of you and your surrounding. It's not only yourself to the nature. So you to feel yourself. Okay, that's why you have to understand very simple things. Everything related to energy. Without the energy, there's no feeling. You're dead, no energy circulation, no feeling. So the feeling is related to energy. This becomes very important, but the feeling comes from the nerves. But nerves is called electric fiber. I'm talking about human body now. Not talking about your sensing to outside world. All right, so this feeling through the nerves, but nerves is electric fiber. So if this electric fiber, if electricity is abundant, the nerves sensitive. If this energy is low, nerves is numb. For example, you can sit some position and feel legs numb. That's because energy has been reduced. So because reason is very important to trace back to what the origin of the physical body's function is the qi, energy. That's why qi becomes so important. Because but from the feeling, you can communicate with the body. See, I can feel when I touch, I can feel it. I don't have to say it. Yeah, from here I can feel the cold. My stomach pain, I can feel the pain. So that's why the feeling in the body is a language between your mind and the body. This is a feeling between you and the nature. That's another level. We go beyond like animals. They can sense. That's a different story. We can sense. That's the spiritual levels. We lost that. We lost that.
Let's talk about that a little bit because in terms of emotions and sensing. So how can people, I know a lot of people are wondering about how you can be more discerning because we all have emotions, but sometimes they come because your prism is not clear, and sometimes it's true emotion that's actually an intuitive emotion that's helping you evolve.
So that's why you have to understand the body's brain. Okay. That's why I explained that from go back to the very beginning. Okay. Chinese talk about cavities. It's not the cavities, this. It's not cavity on the teeth. Talk about cavities, energy center. That's in the feng shui, in Chinese feng shui, talk about energy, looking for this energy center. For example, this is sphere. This is sphere. Where's the energy center? Everybody know the center. Because energy come out, come back, is always pass through the center. If this is ellipse, to center. Got it, right? Now, I want to ask people one question. I ask a lot of people this question, they don't understand. Okay, in the medical terminology, they call embryo and they call fetus. It's still the baby before the bones. What's the embryo? What's the fetus? Okay, that's become a crucial key. All right, if you go back to check the Western medical science, you see, embryo is a one cell continue to multiply until 6 to 8 weeks. That's called embryo. At that time, there are also scientists call it bean, a pea, ellipse. Okay. After that, you can see the arm and leg come out. Now you can see the human form. Once you see human form, they call fetus. That means what? That means what's the first thing human body constructed? Is two poles, polarities. What's that? That's amazing because remember, it's an ellipse, it's a bean. The ellipse, that's two center. What is these two center? That's the first thing human life. Without these two, then human life energy disperse. To keep energy there. That's why scientists discover this and gut, spinal cord. First brain, second brain, spinal cord. You understand now? So the first brain, second brain, spinal cord, that becomes central energy line.
Yes, and for people that aren't following, we're talking about the lower dantian when you're talking about the lower brain and the gut. Yes.
Yeah, that's the real dantian. Yeah, the gut. Yeah, so amazing. This part, it controls your spiritual center. This part is the energy center. So your physical body, without these two, then your body is not dead. Is dead. So that's the first thing human life or animal life, they formalize. This is the head. Head is like a round, almost round. So where is the inner center of the head? The center. Line up the ear, the center. It's not the brain. Brain is on the top. What's this one? That's a limbic system. Okay, what's the limbic system? You look at the science interpretation. Is correspond to nature, emotional instinct. For example, you see something, you have compassion without thinking. The mother loves kids. That is a compassion. But unfortunately, today we've been dominated by thinking. We ignore the feeling. That's a problem. We create the whole world. We create it by thinking, by conscious mind. We invented everything, include cell phone, include TV, whatever. But we have been trapped into this material world from last century. Are the people happy? You ask people around, are they happy? No. Today, people commit suicide rate is higher than ever. Because a lot of things, material things, they provide them. They are in heaven. but they don't appreciate that. They've never been in the hell. How do you know what is heaven?
Maybe this is a good time to add a bonus question because I love that story you've shared in the past about the white canvas with the black dot. And too many people are focusing on the black dots. Can you briefly explain this story for inspiration for people?
Yes, of course. There's a teacher. He come to the school, come to the class. He said, today I'm going to give you a test exam. Okay. Then everybody said, okay, it's going to be test. Then she just spread around about 20 students. She put a piece of paper upside down to every table. He said, now, when you turn the paper over, I want you to write essay about what you see. Student said, oh, okay, all right. Then he said, okay, now start now. And the student opened it. There's nothing inside, only one black spot. Only one black spot in the paper. Then the students start writing the black spot, writing. Yeah, after 20 minutes, then student gave on the paper. She said, I'm not going to grade you, but I'm going to read what you write. 20 students, none of them talk about white spot. All they talk about black spot. How big it is, where it's located, what's the size. Then she said, that's what we are. We all look at what we don't have. You don't appreciate what we already have. We always channel ourselves in the corner. If you go to the house, you see the corner, that's what you see. That's what we channel. Our instinct is me, what I feel, what I want. If you learn how to turn around, from the corner turn around, you see the big house. Your heart is open. You see the sky, don't see the earth. You see the whole universe. Then you find out we are too small. So that's the patience. That's because reason. That's why we are in pain. Because we never know. We don't appreciate. As I said, as long as you appreciate what you have, you'll be always happy. You always complain, always expecting, then you won't be happy. You always think about me. No, you won't be happy. And you think about you and other people, it's fair. You always think about other people, oh, you are the Buddha.
Okay, so in a related question then, my favorite book from you, the Tao Te Ching, a Qigong interpretation. Can you explain how you came to write that, and in this context also how you see the Tao Te Ching as a guide for us to help us live the best life possible and get away from that toxic thinking?
The recognition is the key. You have to face it. See, the Tao Te Ching, you understand, Lao Tzu, he's not a politician. But he's not a politician. How can you write Tao Te Ching inside so many chapters? They give advice to politicians. How do you rule a country? How you control a country? How you make the country harmonized and peaceful? That's because in Chinese, the Qigong say, your body like a country. The Qi is your people. Your breathing is your strategy. See? So because all these things, what you regulate your body, it's the same idea. How do you treat the country? Yeah. So because the reason that's why he can write a book about Tao Te Ching, talk about. So this Tao Te Ching is not only for you, it's for the whole societies, whole human society. Especially chapter 4, chapter 6. You talk about two poles, polarity. You talk about this center. 自虚极 is bring your mind to extremely insubstantial. What that means? That means empty. Insubstantial, extremely insubstantial. That means no material things, empty. what the Buddhists talk about. Buddhists talk about this one, they talk about Kong, empty. The first thing you want to give your mind empty. Without empty, it cannot develop feeling because your thinking is dominating the whole thing. So that's why this thinking can trigger emotional mind, wisdom mind. Okay, so that's the question. There's a emotional mind, wisdom mind. This you're feeling. Which one you trust? Eventually, which one control your life? Because the head, Sophia, is center. Center is a limbic system. It's a feeling, but they have a guts feeling. That's to me, I'm amazing. America, when you have that kind of intuition, they call your guts feeling. Here, eventually it goes through a spinal cord. They synchronize each other. Dao De Jing talk about. Chinese talk about spinal cord. These two paws, the spinal cord. The spinal cord, Chinese call thrusting vessel. Thrusting, that means go through quickly. But today scientists say, oh, there's a spinal cord, highly electric conductive tissue. There's no signal delay. So eventually, you are two? No, you're one. You're one? No, you're two. You're one body, you have two. Your spiritual body, physical body. This is the center of spirit, this is the center of energy. From this energy, it nourishes the spirit and make your body strong. Once you know this is structure, actually that's the Dao De Jing talk about. Talk about, can you find these two centers? See? But unfortunately, when I read the English translation, I read about 6 versions, considered very famous. Unfortunately, almost 90% of them interpreted by the Western scholars. Western scholars, they don't have a Chinese cultural background. So when they interpret it, they miss important essence of the whole thing. They don't talk about yin world, yang world, because in the Dao De Jing, Dao, it's a Dao. When you talk about Dao, it's not Dao. What is that? Dao is a spiritual world. De is manifestation of a Dao. See, Chinese say Dao De, that's mean morality. Dao De is morality. Dao is what? Your thinking. De is your behavior. Your thinking, your behavior. That's your morality. So Dao De Jing is talking about what your energy side, spiritual side, what's your physical side. But you cannot have this, you get trouble. So that's why today I tell you, today people have material things, the young world have many things, what they want. Are they happy? No, they feel empty. What's empty? Because they miss this part. So because reason I want to encourage people, Dao De Jing actually try to ask you, bring your mind to these two centers. From these two centers, then finally from this center come to this center, become the first cell of your body. Embryo, beginner embryo. That's the embryonic breathing. When you go there, empty is feeling. You reconnect to the nature. Okay, you know the science. The science, the Western world, they are looking for what's the basic structure of the universe. Chinese also talk about what is the origin of a human life, of a material things. Okay, the Western world go this way and go this way. Western world from this side keep going there, they continue to cut the material. And cut as small as possible. They call elementary particle. So every year, if there's some scientist discover new elementary particle, boom, he got the Nobel Prize. But remember, that's on physical side. How about spiritual side? Spiritual side, you also reach the beginning of the life. Don't you understand? From the beginning of life, you are part of the nature. You are not a human form yet. So that's why the Dao De Jing talk about. You want to go back to the beginning of your life. From here, you get rid of all the conscious mind thinking, manipulating, develop feeling. From there, you lead the chi to the center, the beginning of your life. Then from there, you can find the beginning of life. One is from spiritual side, one from material side, you end up the same thing. See?
Yeah, you have to
So
have
for example,
both.
like a spinal cord, the West called the central nerve system. Chinese called central Qi system. What's the difference? One from Qi point of view, the other is the English from the material point of view. That's all. It's talking about the same thing.
Wonderful. Well, I love that book, so definitely we'll link to that under the video. So any other final things that you want to share with my audience now? We're at the beginning of 2026. Anything we talked about today that you feel needs more explanation?
Yeah, I say people should pay more attention to the spiritual side, but not the religious side. Religious side because they have a dogma, doctoring, or the manipulating. No, develop your own feeling. The nature is in your heart. You are part of nature. As you search for it, meditate for it, you find it. All my writing can inspire your thinking. Maybe from the ancient documents can lead you to some of the thinking, but it's not for you to absolutely believe, blindly believe. That's called brainwash. Okay, so if people have that kind of attitude, sooner or later they'll be enlightened. Then they can share with other people. I hope that by the end of this century, humans are harmonized, peaceful, no war. All those wars disappear. Yeah. Otherwise, we're still in pain. We are still struggling. We are still evolving. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. That's
Thank you, Seena.
wonderful. So where can people find more about you and your courses? Can you share your website?
Yeah. The website is check publishing called YMAA.com. Young's Martial Arts Academy.com. YMAA.com. Inside I have all my publications. Yeah. I don't own the company anymore. I sold it 18 years ago, but they still publish my book.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you, Seena.
Okay, bye. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Seena Podcast. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to learn more about me, you can check out my website, which is Seena.com. That's SEENA.com. Or let's connect on my socials. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and my handle is Seena Music. See you there.